After doing advice on this channel for years, there is one question / concern that I get DM'd to me the most. Basically, girls asking what the hell is going through some dude's mind. He's into her one day and then the next day he's not. And while I can't say the exact reason that every single dude is, losing interest all of a sudden, what I can say is that dudes in general, we're very simple. And if your goal is to try to get and keep us interested, it's not that difficult. The trick that has been scientifically proven to getting a guy to be absolutely addicted to you is this. The more we're thinking about a girl, the more we start to develop feelings. It's like, I'm spending all of my time thinking about this girl. It must be love. And once you know that very simple fact about guys, all you gotta do is figure out a way to get into his head in a positive light and stay there, and you got this man in the palm of your hand. So how do you do that? Well, lucky for you, there have been tons of psychological studies that have been done that have basically answered this question for you. Studies have shown that a few specific social cues click in guys' heads and will just keep us obsessing over you for long periods of time. So today we're gonna be discussing what I think are the 4 easiest ones that you can do in depth and with some practical application. But real quick, before we get into that, I just wanna let you all know that I just uploaded a video to my second channel where I partnered with a local fraternity to throw a toga party to help raise money for victims of sexual assault. I've been planning the event and the video basically all summer, and I spent the last 2 months editing it, and I'm super proud of it, and I really think it's like a good, enjoyable piece of content. The whole thing's part of a series that I've been doing on that channel for a while now, where essentially I throw pop-up events around my city, Toronto, and give the proceeds to different charities and document the whole thing. If that sounds interesting to you, or if you just support me here, it would mean a lot to me if you went to check out that channel, watch that video, and if you enjoy it, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. That would mean the world to me. And yeah, it'll also be in the description below. Please go check it out. Now onto the topic of today's video. Here are 4 of the easiest ways to get a guy obsessed with you. Number 1, the subtle neg. Have you ever heard of negging? It's definitely a term that I've heard more guys toss around than girls, but it's basically just a means of convincing someone to like you. And what it actually is might sound odd or like it wouldn't work. And usually, honestly, I think to an extent it's done too much or not correctly, but make no mistake, I think negging 100% actually works if done right. And funny enough, I actually think us guys are more susceptible to it than girls are. So what exactly is it? My definition of negging is essentially teasing or insulting someone into liking you. To be clear, I don't think it should be outright rude, which I've definitely heard of stories of people doing and seen that in action. I think that's not right, but it just shouldn't be necessarily nice. If you think about it, it actually makes sense, and it's something that I think a lot of people did without realizing. Like when we were all kids, a lot of the time people would tease their crush. It's a way of communicating with someone who you might not know too well yet without making yourself too vulnerable to their rejection. And psychological studies have shown that compliments are actually pretty forgettable. If someone says to you, for example, that you're pretty, people tend to deflect. They don't actually take the compliment very sincerely. We'll think, oh, they were just being nice, or find another way to justify it. On the other hand, comments, or really just anything that's not a compliment, tend to sit in a person's brain for longer. You have cute little ears is one that I've gotten before, and damn, if it didn't keep me up at night. Other things I've gotten is oh, my dad has those same socks, or wow, you must really like bomber jackets. And the common theme between all these things is that they're not insults, because you're not actually saying what your opinion is of them. It's just little things to get him thinking. Now he's like, oh, I do have a lot of bomber jackets. Is that bad? What did that mean? Are my socks lame? And now without realizing it, you kind of have them vying for your approval. And now when you do compliment them, it's gonna mean a lot more to them. And they're not necessarily gonna know why, but the reason is because they'll basically feel like they've won your approval. They'll feel like they've changed your mind about them. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you can get a guy to think this much about you, really overthink a dumb little thing, that's gonna turn into liking you. Number 2 is to have some mystery. So maybe he's starting to be a little interested, but let me tell you, at this point in time, the absolute worst thing that you can do is to make yourself too readily available to see him or spend time with him or talk to him in any way that's convenient for him. Don't get me wrong, there's being available, and there's making it clear that if he ever has a second, you'll be there to spend time with him. Like that is it's just too eager and it might push him away. So let's backtrack a little bit. I used to have a really bad habit of always saying too much when I got nervous. And it led to me clearly showing I was nervous and to always looking pretty desperate. The issue was whenever I was like that, I would say what I was doing, what I was thinking, and yeah, if it was to a girl that I was interested in, I would say, you know, when I'm free, things like, oh, we should definitely do that sometime. And basically things that let her know that if she ever was interested in me, I would stop what I was doing and be there, just ready at her beck and call. But what I found is people tend to not like that. Being too easy to have means that people don't need to put in any work whatsoever for your affection. And make no mistake, your affection is worth something as long as you can give it value. Affection is kind of like money. If your parents give you $20, you're not gonna appreciate it that much. You're gonna be like, sweet, I have $20, I'm gonna go spend it. Meanwhile, if you got a job and made $20, now you like understand what went into getting that. And you're gonna be a little more careful when you're spending that money. So I learned to fix that bad habit of saying too much by basically learning to control the urge of blurting things out when there's the smallest silence. And instead learning to be comfortable with a little bit of silence. And you know what? It's helped a lot. And now when I say something, it almost always has a purpose, instead of just saying something to make things not awkward. And I've seen firsthand just how much better people react to it. People think that I'm more confident, and if anything, when a silence happens, they're the ones who feel awkward. So the lesson from all of this applies to everyone, even if you don't share my bad habits. And it's because the lesson is this: all people find a sense of mystery attractive. If you're mysterious in the right way, it means that people want to know more about you. For example, being quiet sometimes, like in my case, will have people wondering what you're thinking about. Being vague with what you did over the weekend will have people thinking about what kind of life you live. There's a lot of different ways to leave unanswered questions in people's minds, but the bottom line is if there are things that people don't know about you, they'll spend a lot of time wondering. It also opens a door to impressing people really easily, because if they don't know that much about you, you can show off when you're actually really smart at something or have some skill that they didn't know about. Like if out of the blue you show off that you are actually a really great singer, or you're super smart in a class that they had no idea of, they'll be left wondering like, whoa, where did that come from? And then they'll start thinking about like, well, if they can do this, what other crazy cool skills do they have that I didn't know about? Number 3 is being hot and cold. Another way to keep yourself in a guy's mind constantly is to go back and forth between being hot and cold towards him. Now what does that mean? Basically, being hot is being affectionate, showing that you're interested, showing that you care, and being cold is the opposite, you know, distant, just not as interested. Affection is usually shown in texting, at least, through communicating with like long texts, responding very quickly, and just being super interested in what the other person is saying. And in person, that means, you know, lots of eye contact, smiling, and asking a lot of questions. Being cold is basically the opposite of that. In texting, your answers are shorter, a little more concise, you take longer to respond, maybe being just a little less interested in what they have to say. And in person, just less of everything as well. And the best part about this point is, I mean, sure, you could fake this to get his attention, but you can also just become busy. Like have like 1 or 2 busy days in a row where you just don't have time to look at your phone or, you know, write out a very thoughtful response. Or maybe you're just having a rough day and it's tough to act enthusiastic when you're not. But from a guy's perspective, if the two of you have been texting for a few days nonstop, you've started to develop a pattern. Now, there's kind of a not spoken about commitment between the two of you to continue this conversation, you know, to that degree. And in breaking that up, he's gonna be left wondering why. And now he's just gonna be thinking about you way more. He's gonna be wondering if you just became busy or if he did something wrong, or maybe someone more fun came along and now you're talking to them. And most importantly, when he realizes how much he's overthinking this whole situation, the only logical reason for why he would think so much and be so concerned about this is because he misses you. Ergo, he likes you. And once he knows this, you got him. Number 4 is to just be exciting. If you've done the previous 3 steps correctly and this guy has been thinking about you this much, it's likely he's gonna wanna start to get to know you a little more one-on-one, if that hasn't already happened. If that is the case, there's one more great tactic that you can use to get him just addicted to spending time with you. Be exciting to be around. What I mean by this is if the two of you are planning on hanging out, do something different. Don't just go to the mall or a movie. Have him try something that he's never done before. Maybe it's a cooking class or go-karting or axe throwing. The point is to try and do something crazy and adrenaline pumping. And I'd say as long as it goes well and continues to be fun, do this multiple times. Not the same thing, but like different, exciting things. Keep doing that. I think eventually you should calm down in order to not be crazy together and, be able to actually establish a relationship at some point. But having a really fun, intense start to dating or just spending time together will leave a lot of positive memories of you in his mind forever. For everything that the two of you do together that he's never done before, as long as it's a positive experience, the next time he does it, or even just thinks about it, he will also think of you. And especially if it's a good memory, he'll always be thinking back fondly. And when a guy associates you in his mind with like always a lot of fun to be around, always something new and exciting happening, he's gonna wanna be around you all the time. Because anyone who can bring that to his life is someone he's gonna wanna keep around. And I guarantee that if you do this right, this man will be hopelessly addicted to you. Anyways, that was it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by giving it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure that you check out my second channel, the video that I just posted where I teamed up with the Fraternity to throw a toga party. It was super fun to make. I worked super hard on it. It would just mean so much to me. Thank you. The link will be in the description. Anyways, tell me in the comments if you've ever tried any of these points and how it went. Let me know down below. Last video, I asked your opinions on where guys want to be touched. And so on screen right now are my favorite comments from that video. And just remember, if you want to have your comments featured at the end of my next video, all you gotta do is leave a comment down below, and if I like it, maybe it'll be featured. I wanna give a huge Instagram shout out to Shanaz, who commented on my last photo, which was me in a toga from the toga party that I did, and she said that my outfit looked great. Thank you, Shanaz. A good friend of mine, someone who helped me put the event together. His mom made these togas for us, and I was just obsessed with it. Next, I wanna give a shout out to Holly, who commented, "Hey Andrew, I love your YouTube videos. They've helped me out so much, and I can't believe I didn't find your YouTube channel earlier. You're so amazing, keep up the good work." That is so sweet. I still, after like 10 years of doing this, never get tired of comments like that, so thank you. And lastly, shout out to Antonia, who liked literally every single photo of mine. I still don't understand how people have time to do this. That's so sweet of you. And here you go, you get Instagram shout out. So make sure you go follow those three on Instagram, and if you want a little Instagram shout out of your own, make sure that you're following me on Instagram. Either like a bunch of my pictures or leave some really nice comments, whatever, just engage and maybe I'll feature you. Finally, subscribe to me for more videos. Make sure you click over here to check out the toga party as well as my other advice videos. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Peace.